Yes, good morning, class. Yes, class, I am audible.
Yes sir, audible.
मानिश, आपका जो हो गया जो इशू था?
यस सर, वो हो गया इलेक्टिव सब्जेक्ट में सर, वो आ गए सर। वो मैंने फॉर्म भर दिया, वो जो आपने भेजा था ना, क्या कहते हैं, जीमेल में डाला था, मुझे भेजा था, और हरगुन ने भी ग्रुप में डाला था, मैंने भर दिया सर फॉर्म।
ओके,
कर दिया मैंने।
सॉल्व हो गया ना आपका?
इलेक्टिव सब्जेक्ट। यस सर।
मैं क्या मैटर सॉल्व हो गया ना आपका?
हाँ जी सर, आगे से ध्यान रखूंगा, 7th 8th सेमेस्टर में ऐसी गलती नहीं करनी।
ओके ओके। All of you mark your attendance by writing present in the chat box. So in the previous class, we ended our talk on the future or the use of Bluetooth devices, right? We talked about the products, we talked about the safety of Bluetooth device, right? And then we are talking about TCP and UDP, right? So while studying this model, that is IoT model, we have found that there is a communication which is taking place between one process running in one system to another process running on a remote system, right? And we know that process to process communication will take place in transport layer, right? So for transport layer, these are the two protocols that is with us, in which we can able to communicate, right? One is known as TCP, that is transmission control protocol, and the other one is user datagram protocol, and they are widely used in our TCP IP model, right? So the task of transport layer is to deliver the data to the process, right? Whereas the task of network layer is to forward the data to reach to the destination, right? In that destination, it could happen that multiple app processes are running in a single system, right? So how the system will come to know that for which process this data has arrived, right? So this gap is basically filled by the TCP protocol, right? This one, TCP or UDP protocol. So what they are doing is they are creating a socket, and how we are going to create a socket with the help of port number, right? So we already studied that we have 16-bit port number. That means 2 raised to power 16, which is equivalent to something around 65,535, right? Please remember, this much number of total port number is available with us. In total, we have 65,535 port number, which is available with us. Out of that, 1024 ports, the first 1024 ports are basically reserved, right, for the servers we are using for that. Like FTP, we are using one port number, like HTTP using one port number, like SNMP, right? So all these protocols are being used or for their dedicated purpose, Like FTP is used for transferring the file, right? HTTP is used for hypertext transfer protocol, right? For web browsing, for internet we are using HTTP, right? Like FTP we are using port number 23, right? So with the help of IP address and that port number 23, basically tell us that okay, this data is for FTP protocol, right? So from one application which is running on a system, right, to another application which is running on a remote system, right? So with the help of this port number, they can able to distinguish the application, multiple applications, right, from the multiple application which is running on the remote system. Right? So that's why the need of this layer is there, and that's why we are studying of this layer. Please, if you can see, I just want to take divergence from here, and you can see over this. I hope you can see. You can see the screen. Yes, class. You can see this. This hourglass. Like the shape is like hourglass with that sand inside, right? So you can see that there is a physical layer. Okay, data link layer is there, right? For contention, error avoidance and all, right? Network layer is there for uniquely identification. Now we are talking about in this particular is we are talking about this transport layer, right? And you can see this transport layer is uh, serving the upper framework of any IoT model, right? So framework is basically a platform where we are providing all the services, right, to the users, right? So framework is much interacted or much closer to the users, right? And you can see that in this hourglass, your framework is basically sitting on the transport layer. Means transport layer has a very critical role over here, right? Please understand this point, right? So that's why it is said over here. You can see in that IoT network, right? The top half of the hourglass host existing and evolving, that is IP transport layer technology, right? So what it means, please remember this line. It is talking about that that the communication which we are taking place or the data transmission we are performing or any kind of uh, interface, like this framework may varies according to the users. Now if you, I just found this book, if you can check that the content of this book, it is talking about the framework, different framework for different use, right? So you can see over here that consumer IoT framework standard, right? Industrial IoT framework standard, right? So these are the different approaches, right? And according to that, that framework may get evolved and have a new uh, dimensions. But on which layer it is going to develop, right? On the top of the, please understand, on that, in this hourglass, you can see it is said that it will be on the top of the that net transport layer, right? So I'm just coming back to my slides over here, right? Just hold on, right? Yes. So this is the reason why we are talking about the transport layer, and we have seen in that reference book that transport layer plays a very critical role for communication, since we are uh, performing data transmission between one process to another process, right? And to accompany this, we have these two protocols, TCP and UDP, right? And we know that TCP have its own characteristics and UDP have its own characteristics. Now, in the next slide, we are going to compare that thing also. And what are the existing protocols available to us, which are classified under TCP and which are classified under UDP, that we are going to see. But before that, we will have a healthy discussion on TCP and UDP comparison. So you can see that TCP is a connection oriented service, as you know, and here there is a need of connection establishment between the sender and receiver, or between the client and server, right? So there could be a kind of handshaking, right? So we have different types of handshaking when we are talking about TCP connection oriented service, right? 3-way handshaking, 4-way handshaking. So in which first they will request, then there will be a respond, and then there will be connection establishment, right? And then there will be data transfer, and according to that there will be acknowledgement. So this way of communication between a client and server is known as handshaking. Is a process, right? Where we are saying it is a connection oriented. What it means that we need to establish a connection before we transmit the data, right? So what it means, it means that we need some kind of dedicated bandwidth, dedicated channels. We need a dedicated line of communication between the client and server. What it means, again, it means that it will definitely going to increase the cost of the network, right? Data transfer. But yes, it is going to give you a kind of quality of service, because if we are want to transmit some kind of audio streaming data, right? So it should be reached on the in a same sequence in which we are transmitting. Otherwise, whatever we are sending does not make any sense. So please understand this thing, that if it is asked that which one is superior, then we cannot say this thing, because there is a kind of thing which may depends upon the type of service we required for that particular application, right? In application, if live streaming is required, you can understand that is the audio or video, then we cannot rely on UDP, as in a sense that packets are being disseminated in different path, and then they are reassembled in the receiving end, right? So that is another aspect, and which we called as UDP, right? So what in UDP, what we are doing, we are having a frame, and we are dividing that frame into small chunks, right? And then what we need some identification bits, right? The complexity is high, as you can see, right? We need to acknowledge them. If there is kind of a packet loss in case of UDP, then what you will do, there will be retransmission, right? You cannot able to assemble the entire frame which you have sent, right, in the receiving side. Now why? Because you have not received the packet in the correctly, or all the packet has not arrived. Then there will be a timeout, and within that timeout, if packet is not received, what could the remedial for that? We have to retransmit the entire frame, right? No doubt, please understand, no doubt UDP is faster as compared to TCP, because we are using multiple path and we are able to reach to the destination in that manner. But yes, TCP IP model have a different aspects, and that is needed for different applications. Similarly, UDP having a different aspect needed for different. So they are standing with their own features, right? And which is required according to the application. So we cannot say that one is superior or other one is superior in this manner, right? So UDP is a simpler connection less. That's what it is saying. Don't need to create a connection. So here, what we are saying is we could able to maintain some kind of speedness. How? Because we are not going to establish a connection. Simply, if we have a data, we are transmitting it in a different path. So we just save that time, right? Which was not able to, which we are not able to done in case of TCP. Since if the connection will not able to establish between the sender and receiver, till then we are not able to transmit. So the entire thing will depend upon the connection setup, right? In case of TCP, whereas in UDP, we just conserve that time period. And that's why it is saying that we are saving the time, or we are saying that UDP is much faster as compared to TCP, right? So you can see over here, it is written that multiple messages are sent on a packet in chunk using UDP. What it means that the entire data that is divided into small chunks, and then we are transmitting it into multiple paths. So benefit over here is that we are utilizing the bandwidth with its full competent, with its full capacity. Getting? So what it means that we are utilizing, it lead to a decrease in the cost of the communication. UDP basically help in this, right? Since we are not dedicating any line, any bandwidth to the one single server or client, right? If that was the case, then it will depend upon the number of channel that we have, right? That much connection could be possible in case of TCP, not more than that. Now suppose if we have 20 lines, and if we dedicated 20 lines to 20 users, then it's okay. But what about if there is one more increment, suppose 21 connection need to be established, then we have to wait for it. So that is the problem with TCP. It reserves the channel, it reserves the bandwidth, and even it could happen that they are not utilizing it with its full capacity. What it means, we are just wasting out the channel, we are just wasting out the bandwidth, which is not required, right? So suppose if 100 Mbps is the capacity of that channel between the client and server, and client is just sending 10 Mbps. So out of that 100, we are just wasting out 90 Mbps of bandwidth utilization over there. So that basically leads to the increase in the cost of communication, and that we don't want, right? But yes, for economical point of view, UDP is economical as compared to TCP, right? But talking about for live streaming, that in which sense we want to send an audio data signal from client to server, then TCP is better as compared to UDP, right? So that's why I'm saying it again, that it depends upon the type of application for which we are using this, right? Then only we can decide which one is better or which one. In that particular situation, that protocol may be suitable or not be, right? So now on the basis of the feature of the attribute, we can distinguish between TCP and UDP, and we will look this thing in the next slide, right? So let's compare it with these two protocol, right? So the acronym, you know that it stands for the transmission control protocol, and you can see we have talked earlier also that it is used in TCP/IP model, right? And it is classified as the internet, right? So let's have a detailed comparison, and on the one side you can see I have taken all the parameters, the important parameters. So these are the significant parameters on the basis of which we are going to compare these two protocols, which is there with us in our transport layer, right? So, and you can see over here the definition in a communication protocol which using data and is transmitting between the system over the network. In this, data is transmitted into the form of packets, right? That include error checking, guarantee the delivery, and preserve the order of the data packet, right? So that is the most important point. It preserve the order, right? So in which the order in which we are transmitting, in the same sequence it is going to be received. Now what complexity it adds to our system, that we need some kind of sequence number, right? If in any case, if that packet is lost in middle of that transmission, then we can able to identify with that sequence number. So sequence number need to be added with each packet, and in a sequence only we can able to understand on the receiving side that yes, all the packets are receiving one after another in a sequence and there is no packet loss, right? If there is any loss, then we could easily able to identify it by identifying that missing number in between, right? So that may lead to that thing. But because of that dedicated channel between the sender and receiver, we are saying that there is a guarantee of delivery of packet, and there will be a retransmission could also take place in case, right? Whereas in case of UDP, you can see it does not guarantee the error checking and data recovery, right? And if you use this protocol, the data will be sent continuously irrespective of the issue of the receiving end, right? So it will not take care of that thing. And in talking about the design, TCP is a connection oriented, whereas it is connectionless. This is already I have discussed. Talking about the reliability, TCP provide error checking support and also guarantee the delivery of data to the destination, and router that make it more reliable as compared to UDP, right? So this thing is clear already in the definition, that which is more reliable and which is less reliable as compared to the other one. While on the other hand, UDP does provide only basic error checking support using checksum. So right. So in UDP protocol, if you remember when we have studied IP 32-bit, similarly for that we have yet that UDP, right? In transport layer we have that UDP packet. So in that UDP packet we have some error checking, basic error checking mechanism, which is known as checksum, so that the delivery of data to the destination, they can able to identify few error if it is there, not the complete support over here we can able to get, right? So destination cannot be guaranteed in UDP as compared to that in case of TCP, right? So that was the reliability. And then talking about data transmission, so in TCP the data is transmitted in a particular sequence. For that, what we are doing, we are maintaining some kind of sequence number, and which means that packet are arriving in order. Obviously we are sending in a sequence, so a receiver will going to receive in a sequence, right? So there will be kind of buffer, right? And with that buffer we are transmitting the packet. If the acknowledgement is not received, then there will be retransmission of same buffer, right? So it is just like a circular linked list, right? If we talk about the implementation of TCP IP model, so on the receiving side, what we could have is we have a circular linked list which is connected from where it is started. So what we are doing is we are transmitting the first frame, first buffer, second buffer, third buffer, and we are accordingly we are getting the acknowledgement. But what if we are not able to receive, then we will retransmit the same buffer and we will wait for till the acknowledgement. If the acknowledgement is received, then we could able to overwrite over that buffer. So that is the point, right? On the other hand, we can understand that there is no sequencing of data in case of UDP in order to implement ordering of it, right? As I have already told you, in this we are sending or we are disseminating the packets in through multiple paths, right? And since we don't require any kind of connection establishment between the two parties, right? So that is the point over here in UDP, right? Now talking about the next key element we have over here is the performance, and where TCP is slower and less efficient, right? Now this point is much related to establishing of a connection. Then there is a sequence transmission, there will be acknowledgement transmission, then there will be handshaking process and all. So that basically leads TCP a slower and less efficient performance as compared to UDP. And UDP is much faster because we are not getting involved in any kind of handshaking, right? So it is basically, if you have a data, you know the destination, simply insert that destination address in that packet header, transmit it with multiple paths. So it is very easy, right? On the other hand, in this particular, right? Whereas the last key element, which is talking about retransmission of data packet as possible in TCP in case of packet get lost or need to be retransmitted. As I have told you, there is a transmission buffer. In that transmission buffer, we always wait for the acknowledgement. If the acknowledgement is received, then only we can able to overwrite in that transmission buffer, right? In case of TCP, right? And please understand that transmission buffer is just like a memory data structure where we are having a circular linked list. So in which the same addresses are again used for transmitting or writing the data, and then again transmitting, waiting, and once the data is received, we can able to overwrite over there, right? On the other hand, we can see that retransmission of packet is not possible in this case of UDP, right? So this is a small glimpse of TCP and UDP comparison, right? You can go, so I can take 2-3 more lectures on this only, right? Since transport layer is a very huge topic, there are lots of transport protocols, right? But in our particular, we are talking about that in that hourglass, that if you have seen that transport layer is basically serving to the topmost layer, that is the framework, right? So to accompany the framework, to provide that support to the upper layer, right? We need this layer, that is transport layer, right? Now talking about some of the standards over here. We can see the technical name for TCP and UDP. We have over RFC 768 and 793 for TCP, right? And we know that we have few protocols for there. And if you remember, we have talked about MQTT. So this MQTT is basically classified under TCP protocol. Please remember that is what, right? Your transmission control protocol, right? Please, connection oriented protocol. So MQTT that you have studied in the previous lecture is basically come under TCP protocol. So this protocol in that hourglass is basically supporting the upper layer framework, right? On the base, that's why it is saying that transport layer plays a very important role for the upper head of that hourglass, right? These are the common protocols: HTTP, FTP, SMTP, and Telnet, which we are using in the common internet facilities that we have, right? Whereas on the other hand, for UDP, we are talking about COAP, that is Constrained Application Protocol, right? So it is connectionless, right? And that's the point why I have talked about this transport protocol. So just to distinguish between that UDP and TCP, and in which we have classified MQTT as a TCP, which is connection oriented, and COAP is your UDP protocol, right? So we can talk about this thing. Now moving further with the next topic, that is the framework, and that is the topmost layer. As I have shown you earlier in the hourglass, this is the topmost layer, which is basically helps to provide support to the customer or to the industry. So we have two different framework for different classes. One is for customers point of view, like single individual customers point of view, and other one is from industry perspective, right? So it is clear from here that a framework is required which basically support, right? But the model is same, which will work under that native layers. All that native layers are transport layer, network layer, data layer, physical layer, right? So these are some of the framework which is commonly present to us and which is available to us, and we can make use of them, right? So few of them is Jita IoT, that Salesforce is there, device Hive. Hive is there for MQTT. I have talked about this thing, right, for Mosquito and all. So that framework is available to us. You can simply download it, then you can install it on your application, on your client server, and you can just use the features over here, right? So these frameworks are already designed, right, and available to us. Cisco also they have designed this framework, and they are making use of cloud concepts, right? So it basically helps us to store ample amount of data, as the feature is to connect with the cloud computing concepts, right? So Azure is there, that is again a cloud based framework. SAP, IoT, Oracle, right, with the help of Red Hat. Now Red Hat and Oracle, they have joined their hand together. So you can see that they are basically working on the cloud based application. So for that, especially they have also designed a framework, right? A solution framework, this which is for industry and for customer point of view. Right? You just search this name. You can search this name in the website, and you can able to find out the purpose or the different features of this IoT framework. Right, right, guys. If you have any doubt, you can ask. Just hold on. I have to take my screenshot, then I will continue with the lecture. Till then, if you have any doubt, you can ask. And those who join me late, I just request everyone, please mark your attendance by writing present in the chat box.
सर TCP IP का सर वो समय reliable कैसे होते हैं, मतलब reliable और
See, what do you mean by reliability? What do you mean by reliable? First of all,
reliable मतलब rely करना, मतलब depend कर, rely मतलब
see, if I have given
rely
you some
मतलब
task, Manish, right, and you are
yes sir,
not responding and you are not doing that task. If I have given an assignment, you are not doing that thing. So the question is,
yes sir.
the reliability factor upon you is how much for me?
Yes, ठीक समझ आ गया सर.
It will be 0, right? Now, the same fact, in the same manner, if I am talking about a protocol, so protocol is dealing with some kind of retransmission of packet, right? Or some kind of transmitting a packet in within that time period or within that time foundation, in that time limit, right? And it is going to deliver it on the other end, right? So this based on this protocol, these two entity means I'm talking about a server, I'm talking about a client, right? So these two protocol, these two entities, that is client and server, they are relying using some method, and that method is saying that, okay, if your packet is lost, I will give you the permission for retransmission, right? I will give you, since I have a buffer, and buffer is designed in a manner that, okay, you can send this stream of bits, and this stream of bit is delivered on the other hand, and then there will be a acknowledgement. If the acknowledgement is received within the time foundation, then okay, it means successful transmission has taken place, right? If that acknowledgement is not received within the time period, so what will happen when the time's out? What will happen? There will be retransmission from the sender side. Means sender is taking full control of delivery of packet until and unless if the packet is not delivered on the other side, sender is not going to move further with the next stream of bits. What it means that it is going to transmit the streams of data in a sequence. It is there and it is going to deliver it in the same sequence on the other end. Getting? So what is going to happen over here? There will be a kind of some method, right? No doubt this method may took some time, right? Obviously, the remedial solution is required for that in case of some packet loss. So what is happening on the sending side? Sender till then, sender will not move further until it will going to receive the previous acknowledgement. And these things are synchronized, right? Means one packet is sent and then it is going to receive the acknowledgement of the same packet. Then the next packet is sent, then it is going to receive the acknowledgement of the next packet. In this manner, it is going, right? So there is a kind of step-by-step procedure, right? And in that sense, it is saying that it is a reliable source of transmission. Whereas in case of UDP, what we are doing, we are just cutting that packets into small chunks and we are transmitting it into different paths. And sender is not worried about that packet is delivered or not, right? If packet is not delivered, then later and it will talk about, okay, this packet is not delivered, retransmit it, right? Then that is a factor of this. But here there will be a sequence, since we are establishing a dedicated link between the client and server, and that dedicated link is basically working in some sequence channel, right? So in that sequence protocol, it is going to talk about, right, this packet is sent, okay, I am going to receive this acknowledgement, okay, successfully delivered, then sender will send the next packet in that. It is not going to flood it like it is done in UDP. So it is just throwing, right? But the problem with this is it is having a issue with that speed, right? So TCP is not much faster as compared to UDP. Right? So all these are the factors where we can say that TCP is much reliable as compared to the UDP. Yes, Himanish, I think your doubt is clear over here. Yes, Himanish.
Yes sir.
Okay, so you can switch off your mic then. So talking about the framework is the topmost layer which is on the hourglass, as you have seen, or in any that IoT model, right? So this top layer is basically dealing with the interfaces or that the different types of features which is available to the user point of view, right? And all these things are working on the native layers such as transport layer, UDP layer, link layer, and physical layer, right? And these are the different, you can see, organizations which are coming forward for having or designing different framework for the IoT application, right? So based this framework could not be same, right? Please remember this thing. All have different objectives. Like these framework are having different objective, and they are serving for different customer or different users. So depending upon your application, you can go with this. You just have to browse them and just search it, right? The feature they are providing. I just want you to have a screenshot for this particular, where you can later on you can just search about this framework that we have and what features they are providing to the users, right? So what it is, that framework simplify the IoT network by creating an abstraction of IoT device network, and that hides much of the underlying complexity. So users are not or they don't have to understand the working of transport layer, right? They don't have to they don't have to understand the working of network layer, physical layer, data link layer. So that is the point of framework, right? So it is kind of a abstraction of IoT device, right? And which hides all the other layers, right? And user are only worried about the features which is available to them, and simply they are making use of it, right? So you can see over here, it hides much of the complexity while exposing only data, interfaces, and the function that facilitate the operations, right? So yes, that is what is needed from the customer point of view. Customer is least worried about how it is going to work, right? So for example, if you purchase a car, you are not you least bother about how piston is going to work, right? It's just like the abstraction. You just have the steering wheel, you have that gear, you have that accelerator, you have brake, and you are just using it and making use of that system, right? That is a framework. So you, that steering, that gear, and that acceleration, the pedal, and that all these things are just like a framework when you have purchased a car and you are using it. And you are least bother how that piston is going to work, how that horsepower is converted, how you are getting that power, how that radiator is working. You are least worried about that. The same manner over here, the framework is basically to identify the data, to collect the data, since that is the approach we are looking forward, because we are more centric towards the collection of data, right? We want to collect the or monitor things, and that is all related to the data. And then we need to analyze that data. Based on that analysis, we are going to consider, or we are going to put forward some actions, decisions, right? Knowledge, wisdom, right? That is what the layer is talking about. So these are the design goal. Whenever you can also design your own framework, right? Like all these organizations, they have designed, you can also design. So please understand, when we are designing a framework, we need this primary four design goals, right? And what are those primary four design goals? This is very important from examination point of view. This is your the unit which is talking about the IoT frame. And IoT frame have, if you want to design an IoT frame, then we need to go with this four primary design goal, which is talking about to how we can able to reduce the development time and bring IoT solution to the market sooner, right? So this is one of the factor which we is talking about, the time utilization, how we can reduce that thing, and how it is how it could be available to the market as soon as possible, right? Then you can see, reduce the apparent complexity of deploying and operating an IoT network. Now, if things are very complex, right? If we are talking about MQTT or COAP protocol, and if these protocol are very hard to achieve, very hard to implement, then nobody is going to try this type of framework. Nobody is going to try this technology, right? So it will go. It will be sooner unpopular, and people will seek for alternate solution for the same, right? So that is the second point. Third point, which improves the application portability and interoperability. So we are talking about not only connecting with the same system, we are talking about how we can coordinate with the other technology or other system like Zigbee, Bluetooth, or other Wi-Fi technology or other networks to which we can able to connect from wire to wireless even, right? So these thing need to be added, right? And the last one is how we are going to improve the reliability source and the serviceability.